Hi, I'm Stacy Noble-Wiebe, Chair of the First United Church Affirming Ministry Committee. Our committee thanks you for taking the time to watch this short video in which we share what we've learned on our affirming journey thus far and why we feel it's so important to keep moving forward together.
Hi, I'm Amy Popek. When we decided to create this video, I wasn't sure where to start. So I asked myself a few questions. Why am I a part of this committee? Why is it important to understand what it means to truly be affirming? Why is it such an important journey to undertake and live openly, intentionally, and on purpose every day? I'm going to read you a quote that I feel encapsulates the why. Before I do, I'll invite you to take a few slow, deep breaths in and out. If it feels right for you, you can close your eyes and allow the words I'm about to share to penetrate. From Dr. Martin Luther King, all life is interrelated, and we are all caught in an inescapable network of mutuality, tied in a single garment of destiny. I can never be what I ought to be until you are what you ought to be. And you can never be what you ought to be until I am what I ought to be. This is the interrelated structure of reality. Imagine being safe and celebrated for who we were created to be.
The work of the Affirming Ministry Committee is important to me for several reasons. My name is Annette Taylor, and as the minister of this congregation, I believe it is my role to preach and to live out the radical hospitality that Jesus demonstrated in his life. As a previous co-chair of Affirm United, I have witnessed the positive impact of the affirming ministry process on churches and communities. And as a member of the LGBTQ community, I know what it feels like to be excluded, to not be fully accepted and celebrated for who I am. You have heard me talk about Belfair United Church in Toronto. I was part of that congregation for over 10 years. It was probably one of the most welcoming churches that I have ever been in. It was, in many ways, a sanctuary for me during a difficult time in my life. But it was not an affirming ministry. While attending Belfair, I fell in love with another woman who was also a member of the congregation. I was so happy. I wanted to share our news with everyone I knew. There was another couple who had met in the church, a heterosexual couple, and the whole congregation was celebrating their love. I wanted that too. So I went to one of the ministers, a woman that I loved and respected, and told her my good news. Instead of congratulating me, she looked at me and said, "I'm so sorry that you are going through this." She thought she was being helpful. I was devastated. I went home and cried. An affirming ministry is one where everyone is celebrated for who they are and who they love.
Hi, I'm Sharon Veer. When I first joined the Affirming Ministry Committee, I must confess that I thought I was a welcoming person, tolerant and accepting people of all diversities. I didn't really know how unaware I was, that there was no place for wheelchairs to accommodate handicapped people, that washrooms weren't designed for young parents to change babies or those who identify as transgender, that the elevator was difficult for wheelchairs to access because the doors were not easy to open, and the list goes on. We have made progress in identifying the needs and continue to do so, but there is much left to be done if we are to be as welcoming as we would like to be. I have learned much about what the word affirming really means, and it doesn't mean tolerant and accepted. Through the workshops, discussions, and meetings we have had over the past couple of years, I have had to examine my views and my attitudes. I have learned and continue to learn so much, and pray that others who have journeyed with us in our learning will join us in becoming an affirming church, a place where all will feel safe, loved, and accepted unconditionally.
Hi, I'm Janet Keene, and I am very grateful today. I'm grateful to be a part of the Affirming Ministry Committee because I have gained so much awareness around so many important issues that we have explored this past 4 years. The educational sessions that stood out most for me were the ones on poverty and white privilege, both equally powerful and insightful. I am also grateful that our church has become even more welcoming to those with differing abilities and gender identities. I'm looking forward with excitement to our vote to become an affirming congregation in the near future and all of the possibilities that holds for our church.
Good morning. My name's Deb Fletcher, and I am a fairly new member to First United Church. I felt as if I had been wandering in the wilderness, searching for a faith community that would welcome me when I discovered First United and the Affirming Ministry Committee. Past experience with good Christian people in a different church, in a different town, had left me feeling very hurt and alone with their judgment of many people who they deemed different, and especially the total rejection of our daughter's gay marriage. I didn't understand how a community of faith could turn their backs on the LGBTQ+ community and so many others. Jesus loves me are words to comfort each and every one of us in this beautiful world we live in. We need to spread the love of diversity, to celebrate that each person is unique. The Affirming Ministry Committee has endeavored to be compassionate to all and to make sure our building is free of barriers, to allow opportunities for education and growth. I am so thankful for this committee, for their work and their partnership with the Church Council, other committees in the church, and groups in our community. It is my prayer that First United votes to become an affirming church and send the message of love to all.
Hi, Stacy here again. Today, I want to share with you why I believe it's so important to hold a vote and publicly declare ourselves an affirming ministry. Right off the start, I think it's important to acknowledge that I am not a member of a marginalized group, and I do not have firsthand experience walking in their shoes. But I have listened closely, listened to people who are gay, lesbian, and trans, who are Black, brown, and Indigenous, people who are youth and seniors, who are experiencing poverty, who have differing physical abilities. And what they overwhelmingly share is that our actions mean so much more than our words. What I've come to understand is that simply saying we're not racist or ableist or homophobic, or that our church isn't, won't change lives or the way our society functions. It's not enough on its own. To truly make a difference, I believe we need to be willing to be seen, to openly and publicly make statements and take actions that embrace and affirm and advocate for those in marginalized groups. We need to add our voices to theirs. Why is that? Because they often experience multiple encounters with prejudice daily through the media, TV and movies, jokes, comments made by strangers and friends, and the everyday language of the mainstream. And even though many of these encounters arise from our lack of awareness and aren't the result of any actual intent to harm, the harm they cause is nevertheless very real and damaging. Because of that, people from marginalized groups need us to go out of our way to provide extra assurance and clear symbols, showing them they are genuinely safe and valued. They need visible sanctuaries. Let's be such a sanctuary.